Hello and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 433 at scavengerlife.com.
Ryan, I have one question for you.
Oh, just one?
Yeah. Are you ready to do it?
To do it. To do it all.
No.
Sure.
To do the last piece of the puzzle of our eBay store, where it would then finally be complete and we would have a complete professional eBay business.
Inventory.
And then the heavens open up and we rise.
Wow.
All right, so of course I'm talking about...
I hope it's like that.
Building an inventory system.
Yeah.
After the fact that we've built an inventory of 8,000 items. So
in 10 years.
Doing it very much back-asswards. You know?
Yeah.
For anyone starting eBay, there are lots of people that seem very smart, and they, from the get-go, when they just have like a couple of shelves in their guest room, they like come up with a system.
A SKU system. Yeah. So smart.
We did not do that. So we have been talking about it, and I thought maybe on this podcast we would kind of talk through it.
Since we definitely need to figure it out like today.
Since we have not figured it out. So people will actually hear us how we try and do this.
Sure.
And people have been giving us on a form. I've talked about it for months. I mean, probably a couple of years now.
Yeah.
People share their inventory system, and they, give us advice on what we should do. I mean, and the reason why it's so important is that we're trying to get to a point where we're hiring people to do more and more parts of the eBay business.
Right. Like packing.
Yeah. I mean, we're still involved.
Yeah.
But now that we're teaching someone how to pack, we need to have her be able to pull stuff without one of us being there.
Right.
Or her just wasting a lot of time, trying to find something.
Yeah.
So, and someone did say, maybe just start doing inventory on all the new stuff we put into the store.
Right.
And then just over time, the old stuff gets sold, over a 3 or 4 year period. And then you have this new thing. I think we just go for it and just do it all. I
think we should do it all.
Yeah.
Because we're going to have our helper help find stuff.
Right.
From 8,000 items that have not been inventoried.
Right. And this is my quandary. And why when people give us advice, I'm like, I get what you're talking about, but maybe we're a little different. We have so much different kind of inventory.
Yeah.
People that just do clothes, they have a system for their clothes, and I get that. Or people that just do postcards, they have a system for that. Well, we have random item in plastic bins. We have shelves just of like random pottery.
And ceramics and glass.
That's all stacked up. We have shelves with just like big, gigantic items, rugs, lamps, chairs. We have little tiny smalls stuff that are in little bins.
Right.
We have artwork, which actually I just built some shelves and have kind of at least got the artwork where it's kind of standing up so that you can flip through it. We have... We do have hanging clothes.
Yep. We have a whole bins of shoes underneath.
Room full of clothes that are hanging, and then we have shoes that are in bags that are kind of stuffed underneath where the clothes are hanging. So, how do you build an inventory system for all those different kinds of things?
Right.
So, what's the answer?
Well, I think we start with bins, because my eBay help, so I have 2 eBay helpers, one who has actually a full-time job, and she comes in the afternoons or on the weekends, and then I have an eBay helper that comes 12 hours during the week. So I think because I don't have any inventory for her to take photos right now. Right. I'm like, we got through all our auction inventory, and I actually had her start numbering certain things, helping number certain things. But I think what we need to do is figure out how we want to number the miscellaneous bins and have her go through each bin, look it up, and give it a custom SKU number.
Fine.
For the bin.
Right. So it's almost like it's an SAT
it's an SAT problem.
And,
yeah.
And it's like when they say solve for each. okay, so we have bins.
Right.
We do have quite a bit of stuff. Just random stuff that we put into bins. And right now they're a label by kind.
Right.
A wooden stuff.
Right.
Kitchen metal.
Oh, this is a good question, because what happens when going forward, you're like, this would go into the wooden bin, but then 10 other things go in 10 other different bins while she's listing it, and you're like, what do you do?
Right. So we had talked about earlier off the podcast, we talked about maybe in that case, we have shelves with bins, quadrants. I don't know.
Yeah, but how does that's still just numbering bins in a different way.
Right.
So you're like, so do we move in the future to the Amazon warehouse model where you're like, this is bin 0075, whatever.
I think so.
And all these random things, doesn't matter what it is, goes in that bin.
So I think we just have her start grabbing a bin. We take it over to the office.
Yeah.
She starts pulling each one out, and instead of it saying pots and pans, we take off that sticker and we just say 1.
Bin 1. Bin 001.
And then she goes in and goes on eBay and searches for that item. And then I guess where would it be?
There's a custom SKU.
And she would just put bin 1 or something.
Yeah.
And she would do that for each one. Now, when we get more inventory and she starts to actually take pictures of that, then what we would do is we would find one of those bins that has some space in it.
And say, go put it in
and say,
here.
Everything you're going to take pictures of, regardless of what it is, goes in this bin.
Yeah.
And you do bin 1. So from now on, it's no longer going to be stuff by kind or type.
And what I think we can maybe do for some, like there's this one bin that literally is called small miscellaneous. It has stuff in there
all
that
the
I'm
glue
like,
guys.
oh my God, there's stuff in there that I honestly think we should throw away, which I can figure out tomorrow probably. But what we should do in bins like that, be like bin 001, bag 1. So there's a bag of like 10 items, because that's going to move some space to put more stuff in there when we are doing more. Yeah, so I think I'm going to have to work on that. If we pull like 3 bins for this week for her to start and we number those bins,
right?
Then I have to further organize those before she starts, which I am not looking forward to at all.
So I don't understand. Why do you have to further organize it?
Because there's some bins where it's just so chaotic and it's like the old stuff that you're like, those should be in like bags. You know what I mean? Like the small stuff. I'm talking about the small stuff. Not like, big wooden trays.
Well, we can just get her to start on bins that are easy.
Okay.
Because we have a lot of stuff. So let's not start defeating ourselves. It's all right.
This is my mindset when I think about making an inventory. I'm like, holy moly!
But the good thing is, if we push through, look, we're just scratching a surface in this conversation.
Yeah, I know. That's why
Number
it's scary.
2 on the SAT test, solve for each. Number 2, pottery on the shelves.
No clue.
Well, I think that's when you had the good idea of quadrants, where we have these, shelves. They're like 6 foot long. There are 4 shelves, and right now there's just like all this stuff, piled up on it.
Yeah.
Kind of in like, here's a shelf of glassware, and this is of plates. But
it's not even like.
What if we just made quadrants on that, or label each shelf?
I think it would label each shelf, yeah.
And then she would just go through and be like, okay, this stack of plates is on shelf, B3.
Exactly.
And then
within that shelf, you're like, it's here.
Right.
The thing that makes me nervous is like, what if that number gets input wrong?
Right. Well,
so what's the fallback?
It can't be inputted wrong.
I know. So, but it's like, if someone's taking, 5 months to do that, how do you check it?
I'll tell you the answer. So our helper will take pictures. She puts in the custom SKU, this item is, 1A or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we put that stuff up in the back. So it would be then us to double check that.
Oh my God.
No.
Who has time to double check every single item?
Okay.
that's my worry is
Okay.
Yeah.
How about this? We're actually not having this conversation alone. There's actually people hearing us. I would love to hear how other people do that. People that do the kind of random items in SKUs, you know, everything in one bin. How do you make sure that, you know, a SKU doesn't get put on wrong? Next. How about our shelves with big stuff? Lamps.
Do the quadrants
carpets,
again.
Quadrants.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, this is shelf 7.
Right.
It's shelf 7A.
Or
shelf 7B.
Or shelf A1 or something. Shelf like a unit A and then shelf 1, 2, 3.
Yes, unit A.
Because I don't think we'll ever have more than
1, 2, 3. Yeah.
I got to count if we have more than 26 shelving units.
Well, see, so how you would solve that is to switch it.
Oh yeah,
shelf 1, A,
You're
B,
right.
C.
You're right.
Because there's never more than 3 shelves.
Yes. Okay, so
And they're infinite numbers.
Right. Now the good thing is with smalls, we've already started. You started an inventory.
For certain smalls.
A system for a lot of like jewelry and little small stuff. So we can just carry that on.
Yeah, so actually jewelry can get redone because jewelry I used to have jewelry in these like little shoebox, like clear shoebox bins, and it's overflowing. So you got me another system, so I'm like, I need her to actually lot out those because it's getting out of control. So.
Okay. Now, artwork. So we already have some artwork that's like flat. They're like illustrations that we have in these cool like plastic containers.
Yeah.
And they're just stacked up. And we actually built an inventory of that where it's numbered.
Right.
But then we have all this artwork that's framed.
That's not numbered.
That's just now, at least it had just been kind of stacked up and crazy.
Now, what's cool about what you just did was, and I actually like looked at that once and didn't look at it again. Like you just did, but I've been so busy. So last week was crazy. But so that shelf can get a number in quadrants. And at first I thought we were going to individually label each one. But now if you're like, it's on shelf 27A.
Right.
You're like, it should be right there. Like, if I'm going to flip through 15 things, at least I'm not flipping through 150
Right.
things.
I mean, basically, what I did is I built it like they have a thrift store.
At Goodwill.
Where it's
but
just
better,
a
actually.
bookshelf with the shelves at a certain height, and then the artwork is up on, like, standing up.
So you can flip through it.
Yeah, you can flip
because before it was stacked.
Yeah.
So if you're not seeing it right away, you're like, I have to move every single piece of artwork and then put it all back.
Okay.
Which sucked.
So how about we then have a separate building with clothes and shoes?
Yeah.
And this is actually our kind of original storage, you know, when we were only selling clothes and shoes.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, everything is kind of hanging up on these rolling hangers, and it's in kind. So it'll be a men's coat.
Sweaters.
Yeah, women's coats, you know, T-shirts. Should we just keep it like that?
I think we should keep it like that. And what I think I want is one of my 2 helpers to reorganize things, like women's jeans. There's like 2 racks of women's jeans. They're not in alphabetical order by brand. Some are hung up the incorrect way. I'm like, this is so ridiculous. I need it just to be in a system.
Does it need to be actually in alphabetical order? Can it just be these jeans are on this rack, you know?
But the problem is those racks can hold so many jeans that you're like, okay, I sold a pair of Levi's women's jeans.
Great.
I literally have to look at every single pair of jeans. Whereas I could be like, well, here are the Levi's. So there's 10 of them. So which one is it?
Yep.
So that's the conundrum of pulling and not being organized, where you're like, and the other thing too about clothes, and this actually happened with a pair of Levi's last week. They were categorized as men's, but they were size 27 by 27, which is freaking tiny, even for a woman. And I was like, I can't find these anywhere. Oh, they're on the women's rack because we clearly were like, these are tiny. But my helper listed them as men's because they were in the men's pile because they were 27 by 27.
Well, because it's a men's size. I mean, it's just like a little.
I will
like
say
a
this.
boy, like
I will say this. It said 27 by 27, 14 regular. So that's probably a youth size.
Okay.
So,
Right.
it's stuff like that where you're like, someone hung it up wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, Jay's like, let's bring down the tension.
No. When tension gets too high when we talk about this stuff, what happens is we just don't do anything because
I know we get
we're not.
overwhelmed.
So what we're just trying to do is work through a system.
Yeah.
And just start, it's like how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Sounds horrible, and I don't want to do it.
I don't want to eat an elephant. Yeah. So, okay. So, I mean, we kind of talked through it. Yeah. I say so she comes on Wednesday, right?
Yeah, she comes Wednesday.
So by a Wednesday, we have 3 days here.
Yeah.
We should go out into our back storage and
pull some
get
bins.
one, start with one storage rack.
Yeah.
With some easy bins and pull out, 2 or 3 bins and just have her start on those. And we will also see how quick she is. I mean,
it might take a really long time.
So obviously, she'll just be pulling out some random, here's a pot.
Right.
And she has to figure out, how do I search for this in our store? Because it's not a label.
Here's the good thing about her.
Tell me.
She has been working for us, I think, for over a year,
Right.
a year and a half. And she's listed so many weird, bizarre things and basically almost every kind of thing in our store. She's very good at titles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be like, you're basically going to know what's what. However, if there's something you have a question about, just put it aside and I will help you find it.
That's what I was going to say.
Because I know everything.
Was simply...
Yeah. No, I know how we've titled
to find
everything.
Stuff, right.
Yeah.
And so she would just basically start with, obviously see if there's a name on it.
A tag or a
brand.
Yeah, like Revereware.
Right. And then start from there. And then anything, not just make a pile of stuff she doesn't know, and then we can go through that.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we just solved it, we're good.
Yeah.
Right?
That's pretty good.
Okay.
I think what we need right now on our bins, I don't know why we have this. We have red duct tape with black writing on it. And the lighting back there is not great. I think we need white duct tape, to write on because they're really hard to read, actually.
I'm gonna put that on.
Yeah, we need to go to Walmart and get white duct tape to write, or wherever.
Buy white duct tape.
Yeah, 2 big rolls of it.
Duct tape. Duck tape.
But duck brand.
Gorilla tape.
Yeah.
Okay, so we just solved all of our problems. See how easy that is?
So easy.
Next, I just want to say people have been adding to our, we made that one podcast where we talked about all of our
all of our philosophies.
Yeah. Chaotic Good added another one. I really want to echo Ryan's comments about checking the solds.
Yep.
Because that's what has allowed her to build her business.
Me too.
Your business. Our business. And it ties right to you are not your customer.
You're not your target customer.
Yeah, that's something we always say on the forum to remind people, just because, if you're not going to pay $100 for this bobble, somebody else will. Yeah. So don't think just because
right, because I won't pay anything for anything. So
and then he followed. When we are dealing with all this random stuff, how else am I going to know a book autographed by Bob Dole is worth more or less than a book autographed by Jimmy Carter?
Right.
And the only way to do that is to do research.
How would you know? Yeah, I mean, I look at other sites like Etsy and wherever, Poshmark. I don't think those show sold prices. You can go in and sort of manipulate the data on the back end and see if you can see it in the code. And, eBay's just amazing, and I hope they never take that away because I have been able to be like, oh, wow, I had no idea this was worth $50. I thought it was worth $20, you know, or... a million examples.
And we talked about it before where when we started, I think we were like other people who were brand new to eBay.
Yeah.
I would be like, well, we just got this for a penny.
So it's worth $12.
This was a trash. So I don't want to charge more than $10 because then people are going to think I'm trying to rip them off. And it's people don't know how much I got that for.
Right. They're like,
Yeah,
they
have
know,
no idea.
and that's like number one philosophy. It doesn't matter how much you got it for. How much is someone willing to pay for? Right. And that's honestly, that's the great thing about eBay. You can put your stuff on sale. You can make an offer. You can, if you want, do an auction. So there's choices to be like, I actually don't know how much this is worth, so let's give it a try.
I mean, eBay's awesome. It's great. I mean, it's just like awesome. Okay, maybe it's not.
Here's the next topic.
Next topic.
Right.
So, Atomic Star is a seller, and she came on our forum.
She or he?
It's a she.
Okay.
I do know that.
Okay.
So she sells clothes.
Right.
She's like a clothes horse. Yeah. I don't know what that's a word or not.
Is that a term?
But a thoroughbred. She sells lots of clothes. She's sending her kid through school. She's amazing. Super organized. And she'll come on our forum and she always says, "Hey, there's this problem."
Right.
Because she's right on the forefront. Yeah. I'm like, "Oh, there's a problem. I don't know." Anyway.
Well, yeah.
And she starts a whole conversation on our Heads forum where we all get to learn about this. So she had to change her handling time.
Yes.
And when she went back to change it back to her original handling time, eBay wouldn't allow those items to get relisted because it was forcing her to manually update her item specifics.
Her sizes specifically.
And it turned out that eBay is in the midst of changing inventory pages or listing pages where they want all this new info. They took some stuff away.
But they messed up because they didn't migrate the old info into the new fields. Right. That's what it was.
So, Ryan, if you did a test on one item, tell us that test.
Yeah, so I went in just manually on one item and was revise this item. I noticed that my size and brand and some other specifics were blank. And you're but down below, it's they're doing this thing where they're breaking up specifics into 3 different categories. One is default, you have to have it. It's got the little star next to it where they're you can go no further unless this is filled in, right? So there's that top level. And then there's good to have and suggested. I don't know what they're called, but it's 3 tiers of item specifics. And so the problem is you're okay, these jeans are size 8R. That information from the old field was not getting migrated by eBay. I tested it yesterday, still was not getting migrated. I read the email from there's a whole notice from eBay acknowledging the problem, and they're saying that. They're yeah, the old data is not getting migrated into the new data, therefore it stops you in your tracks, which for people like us who have 2,000 clothing items, you're that's a problem.
We can't go in and change every single one. I mean, that would would take days.
I mean, I don't even. Yeah. Well, we shouldn't have to. I mean, that's just data management on the back end that should be the easiest thing ever. So eBay says they're fixing it.
Right. So they said, and then eBay, people were all crazy as they should be, especially if you're only selling clothes. And eBay, put out an announcement and they said it was a technical issue. Some of the item specifics did not update correctly. As a result, some items were blocked during relist. Right. In addition, the new required field is showing up as blank.
Required, that's what it's called.
And incomplete.
Yeah.
They said as we work to resolve this issue and ensure item specifics are mapped correctly to the new item specific, you can take note of the following. Your listing is no longer blocked from being reposted or revised because the required item specific is blank. Right. So behind the scenes, we will map the new item specifics. And, they don't actually say why they're doing this. I'm assuming it is because they're just trying to build more structured data. So when people are doing a search, they can keep drilling down. Men's shirts, red, small, 44,
which they should.
No buttons,
I think they
American
should.
made.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's fine.
So they're trying to get people to allow people to date because there's, a lot of stuff on there. So
also they're essentially getting rid of descriptions. Right. So all that, because honestly, all that information is not useful in a search like this, where you want to be able to drill down.
But I guess my thing is with eBay, they should just kind of allow the market to work for itself, in the sense of, if I want to be a lazy seller and not want to fill all that stuff in,
that's
then
my
just
own fault.
Allow that to happen. And then if I want to be like the front of the class and I'm like doing every single little item specifics, then that's going to help me in search. But don't allow it not to get listed.
Feel like the reason eBay would require... Okay, so the thing about requirements is they're not... From what I was looking at, there weren't that many requirements. It was like 4. But when you look down the item specific, there's like a freaking 100. Like, there's so many. Right. It's crazy.
So the 4 that they require are the really obvious ones.
It's like color. Actually, I don't even think color was one of the requirements.
Color shouldn't be. And Atomic Star actually said color is problematic, because
color is problematic.
Olive green might be your
gray, which I've had happen.
Yeah. Color's a really tough one.
Yeah, color is... So I actually don't think that one was required. But I guess trying to think of it on eBay's end for that, like, here are the requirements, it's almost like you have to have a title and you have to have photos and you have to have these item specifics. They want quality data. Right. That is what they crave for their search returns.
Sure.
So if you don't have that, it's like... It's almost like the system like doesn't know where to put that. Right. And so is that good for eBay? I don't know, because they're making less sales because their search is not as good.
Here is what we learned, or what I said. Number 1, eBay should not be doing this stuff
in the fourth quarter.
In the fourth quarter of the year, when there's so many more people looking to buy stuff. You know, this is not the time to do this stuff. Yeah. Like, they should look at their development schedule and do the stuff in the summer,
or like in March,
in the winter, like after January. Just like, do not do this when stuff is so crazy. The other thing is, obviously, I mean, I don't know how they do this, but I'm just surprised they don't have like, a sandbox developing platform. That
maybe it worked in the sandbox. Who knows?
Anyway, but the other thing, though, as a seller, when stuff like this happens, I'm always reminding people, just
wait it out.
I mean, I know it's not helpful, but just like, there's nothing we can do in the moment. And to wait, a day, 2 days, wait for the end of the weekend, and let them figure out how to solve it. So I guess some sellers were like ending everything and then trying to relist their items. And so they're like using up all their...
like credits, right?
Credits,
Well, and eBay actually specifically said in their email there, where they were like, don't do that.
Yeah. Although some of this is because if you are really dependent to make a certain amount of money every day, I mean, we definitely felt this. I don't think we sold a single piece of clothing past a Wednesday.
It was like a day and a half of almost no clothing and almost no sales.
No, even up until now, we have not sold a piece of clothing.
I mean, our stuff is active.
Wednesday,
it's there.
So, I feel like maybe their search is messed up. And so, I mean, there's a lot of financial insecurity as well. But ultimately, it does show we're dependent on eBay to do the right thing. And you just have to allow them to like fix a problem. And then...
Well, what I'm afraid of is next week, the week after next, we're going to be gone for like 4 nights. And I have to change our handling time. It's on our business policies. It's not through the bulk editor. But business policies will kick things out of your like change handling time if there is an issue with specifics.
Well, as it gets closer, we should test one and see if they fix that problem.
But it's not even about one. It's like my clothes are all in 2 different categories, 2 different business policies.
Right. But just try to change one in one policy.
Right. So what I'm saying is,
so the policy is
there's like thousands,
for everything.
There's like 5,000 items in that policy. I will say, so this is a good example of trying it with business policies. I do have like 30 items in like padded flat rate, like shoes and stuff. I might try that one.
Try it with that.
And
like
see.
A smaller one. See, because I mean, eBay did say they weren't going to kick out items.
Right.
You know.
The information might not be 100% migrated is what they're saying, but
right.
you won't be like barred,
right.
like you must fix this problem before going forward.
Yeah. Anyway, this is when eBay. I try and like be I try to say nice things about the stuff that eBay does well, but man, these are rough times when it's hard to defend a platform that has this kind of problems.
Yeah.
Okay. One more thing. You appealed a USPS label cost adjustment.
Yeah. So I rarely. Yes.
So tell people, what a cost adjustment is.
Okay, so if you weigh something wrong and the post office reweighs it, which I think they reweigh everything, they're like, hey, this wasn't this weight, it was actually over or under. Some people have reported that if they underweigh it, sometimes they'll get money back, which I never thought would happen, but that has happened.
I think the post office a couple of years ago, they built some kind of computerized scanning away a system. So it's not like there's a person doing it. It's going through like a...
Yeah. I don't think it happens to every single item because... I don't know if every sorting facility has it, but I think some of the major sorting facilities have it. But so I had this really lightweight baseball hat. I was pretty sure it was 4 ounces. It's like one of those hats that like you put on the scale and the scale like doesn't even register it. And you're like, okay, well that's under 4 ounces, right? It's like a super lightweight foam, whatever. So I remember that one. I remember being like, there's no way this hat was like 13 ounces. There's just no way. So they sent me a cost adjustment of $1.17, which, that's not very much money. But at the same time, I was like, nope, I know for sure that is incorrect. So I appealed it. I just sent an email. There's like an appeal email that's listed on the eBay page, like the eBay email. So I just replied and then put that email up top. And I was like, I weighed this and I know it didn't weigh 13 ounces. There's no way. And they actually gave me my money back.
Wow.
So but I think what's hard is that like, it's hard to remember like 2 weeks ago, this one thing, you're like, oh, was it over by 2 ounces? I don't think so.
So the way we find out about that is that eBay will send you a message in your eBay, messages and says
for cost adjustment,
this item was over by 2 ounces, so we're charging you another $1.14 or something.
Right.
So there is when you can.
Yeah, and on that message, it's like you can appeal this through.
So my question is, how can the post office check that?
I don't know,
because it's like the item's gone to the buyer, so it's not like they can grab it off the shelf and reweigh it.
And also like. If they're saying it was 13 ounces, they must have that data somewhere. Right. So you're like, how did that data happen? Was it on the scale with something else that had just left the scale? And I don't know. How would they know that?
I hate to say it, but maybe you just automatically,
You automatically trigger a refund by appealing.
Dispute each one and just see what happens. I mean, does it cost us anything?
No, I just wrote an email. Yeah. I literally just wrote an email to the email address. It was like verify postage at USPS.
I mean, it's for us. It happens very rarely. It's one of those, a month.
I can't remember the last one I got. Right. So I think also sometimes, and I joked with my helper when I was teaching her how to pack, there are times where you put something on the scale and it's so close to being the next one up that it'll like say it's the next one up and then not, and then say it, and you're like, is it 10 ounces or 12 ounces? Like, it keeps bouncing back. I err on the side of caution and I go up, up. I'm like, well, it said 12 ounces, but then it went back down. But I'll just say it's 12. But sometimes your scale is acting weird, you know, and you're like, so, there are times like that where you're like, well, maybe they did weigh it, and it was over by 2.
Okay, the final thing I wanted to talk about before our numbers is someone came on the forum. I think it was Mabel. Mm-hmm. She says that eBay has a new site, new page on eBay called ebay.com/ seller help.
Yes.
And when I go to it, it has 4 things I can click. It says seller help allows you to quickly and easily manage your returns and refunds and other selling problems in one convenient location. And I can click on returns and refunds, policies, request assistance, or request status. So I don't know. It sounds like they're trying to streamline issues. So I can click on returns and refunds, and it takes me to an eBay page where it shows me we have 6 items right now where people have said that they want to return them.
And whether they will or not, we'll see.
Over the past 30 days. Yeah. And I guess it allows you to, it says return closed. One says waiting for buyer to ship item.
Right.
Actually, they all say that. So
yeah, they're all just sitting there.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is related to that page, but I do have Anchor support because we have an Anchor store. And the other day, someone had opened a return and never returned the item. I didn't have time to call, so I just emailed them. They have an email. It's I forget what it's called. It's some merchant support at ebay.com. And I was like, let me shoot them this email and ask them to close it. And then if it doesn't happen, I'll call tomorrow when I have time. But they closed it. So that was actually super helpful. So I don't know if you have access to messaging Anchor support through there, but it was actually helpful to not have to be okay, I need to sit down. I need to get on the phone.
So number one, I don't think it is specific for Anchor support.
It's for anybody.
Is just because anyone can go to this page, I think.
Yeah.
So my question is, where did that email come from? The Anchor support email? Is it just...
I had it saved somewhere. Okay. I literally don't know where you can find it, but I had it saved just in a previous email that I had sent them.
But it's kind of cool. It seems like it's kind of brought everything all in one place.
Yeah.
So on its request assistance, I can click on request to remove feedback, appeal a defect, report an issue with the buyer, or
that's helpful because look, the less you have to be on the phone to solve really simple things that you are pretty sure can go in your favor. It's like when you get on chat with Amazon or whoever and you're like, I just need this question answered. I don't want to sit on the phone for 20 minutes. Right. I have to do other things. I wish eBay had a chat, essentially.
And what's nice is it's got it says it request status. And we don't have anything right now, but it says track the progress of issues that you've asked us to look into.
Oh, that's cool.
As you can see.
That's a huge, that's big.
Yeah. So
right, because sometimes if you're a buyer even, and you're like, item not received, or item is damaged and seller won't respond to me. Yeah. I mean... Oh, this is seller help. So actually, I don't know if there would be buyer help.
No, well, it's I don't know if they have that. Right? But anyway, so I think that's good. I mean, that's so eBay, you were good, then you're bad, and now you're back to being good. So it's kind of nice that that's
good and you were bad. And then you're...
Okay, let's talk about our numbers for the week.
Cool.
So, yes. Like we said, when that problem happened, I think it happened on Wednesday with the whole closing problem. Yeah. And I don't know if it was affecting other random items as well.
I'm not sure.
Because our sales kind of died.
Our sales died.
For a couple days, we had only sold maybe a couple items a day. But then it kicked back in. Although, like I said, we have not sold any clothes or shoes since a Wednesday.
Yeah.
So, but we sold 41 items.
Wow.
For $1,076.59.
Okay, at least we hit that 1,000 mark. I'm surprised, actually.
I know. So that's not including shipping, and that is our gross sales. Mm-hmm. That is painful. I mean, October, I would expect sales to be better, but that's just the way it is right now. We sold one item for $180, which really kind of saved us. This vintage vase.
It's a vase.
Yeah.
It was I think it said made in China, but it looked Japanese to me. But it was large. I had to show my helper how to pack it, which was good. I'm like, we are going to pack the crap out of this thing.
Triple box it.
It wasn't triple box, but it was it was very double boxed.
And we're like, you get in the box and you hold it until they open it up.
Yeah. I mean, $180 is a good price.
For us, yeah.
But yeah, so I think it's going to get there just fine. And I insured it and should be good. Send priority mail even.
Yep. Then on the other spectrum.
Yeah, what's the lowest price?
One of our oldest items that I think about more than I should sold. And I remember even buying it.
What was it?
I remember the thrift store. It's this like, I guess when it's like an old TV shows, you'll see like an ad executive in his office have like a little device on his floor.
A golf putter device.
Where he putts into it and then it kicks it back. I remember the thrift store I bought it at. I can remember
that.
Taking it off the shelf, and I probably paid like $0.25 for it. And I don't know anything about this thing. This thing must be 7 years old.
I mean, it's so old.
And it sold for $1.71 because I think we had like brought the price down so much, and then we have a sale in our store, and it's just
the price kept going down and up. Like I had to pull that from storage with my helper, who I'm like teaching how to pull stuff, and she looks at the invoice, and I was like, yeah, that thing sold for $1.
Yeah,
but
$1.
It's sold.
Yeah, I mean the good thing is
watch him want to return it.
Yeah,
doesn't work.
The good thing is that it's a good example of everything will eventually sell if you hold on to
$1.
I mean, I think on that one we probably lost some money on the listing fees after $1.71, but it's the emotional, like, yes.
Yeah, not worth it.
Yeah. It didn't go into the dump. It's going into, like, to some ad executive,
Yeah.
Scavenge of the week. I mean, one reason why I can't cry too much about how we aren't making as much on eBay as we would like to is because we're just not buying anything.
Look, but it's not like I'm not listing stuff. It's like we have had a backlog of stuff that I have 150 things that have to get listed.
Yep.
Things are being actively listed like every other day. So whatever you think is the problem is not the problem. Like we're not. In a couple weeks, if we haven't sourced anything, then you can cry. But that's not the problem.
There's no crying in eBay.
Yeah, exactly.
I hear you. Okay, so there's that. Customer issues.
Just a lot of returns open.
We've had kind of our customer issues, our return requests have kind of come back some.
But a lot of people don't send stuff back.
It was quiet for a while. In the past couple of weeks, we've just, like, one day we had like 3 people say,
oh my God,
I would want to send this back. Now, half of them are just like, I changed my mind,
or I
no
don't
problem.
like
The other people, the other half are saying that there's something wrong with it.
Right.
And, it is interesting, and I think that's why sellers get so upset sometimes, is that buyers can get really personal. Like one person said, they open up the automatic return.
Right.
And they said that the seller purposely didn't take the right photos to trick me.
Right, exactly.
And that was there, so
definitely so
they're blaming
that.
And it was a button where basically a close-up of the front, a close-up of the back. And there is no other photo.
Like what other photo could I take of those?
Anyway, and so it's just like, you know what? Just like send it back. So this is an example of like the silent method where we just accept the return. It comes back. Then we used eBay's new system to dispute
Well, and
it.
look, like honestly, 60% of the time it doesn't get sent back.
True.
So you're like, I think they just they're fishing for a refund or a partial refund.
Right. Or they just change their mind. Or some people are like, they change their mind, but they don't want to have to pay to ship it back.
Or they're too lazy to ship. They're just like, I don't know. I did have an item break. It was a wooden item, though. It was a knife block. The good thing is, I don't know. I taught my helper how to pack it. We packed it. We were like, this looks pretty good. And they sent a photo of it like smushed on the top.
I mean, how do you break a piece of wood?
No, but there might be some. So also my theory was this, because it's used, maybe it had a hairline crack that we didn't see. And then it got jostled in the mail, and you're like, it's a used item. It's not a brand new item. The good thing is we sent it priority mail, and it had insurance. So I refunded them right away, and I did an insurance. It wasn't much money. It was like $15, but...
That is a good example when we say, we have the silent treatment on buyers. I mean, when someone sends us a photo of something that breaks... Yeah. We always immediately give them all their money back, and we either just eat it, or if we have insurance on it, we
claim insurance.
We then claim insurance, and we don't allow the buyer. The buyer doesn't need to be involved in that.
Right, exactly. Although the problem with ShipSaver insurance is they make the buyer do like a little checkbox that they got a refund, and if the buyer's mad at you because it broke, they're not going to do that on the claim.
And then ShipSaver doesn't give you the money?
I think one time I argued it where I was like, this person's mad because either it never showed up or it broke in transit, which wasn't my fault. Right. And they're not going to certify this claim. And so I don't know why they do. It's really annoying.
And does the post office do that?
No. The post office, you just give them as much information as you can. I give them photos because I'm like, here's the damage. Right. This is my tracking number. This is who it went to. This is me.
Yep.
And then you give them like...
Here's a picture of my cat.
Right. Here's my cat. You give them proof of value, which I just take a screenshot of like the order page of how much they paid for shipping and I give them as much information as I can. I've never had a problem. Yep. I don't think I've ever been denied a claim on USPS.
I will say, and I don't know if we talked about this, there was one time in the past 6 months where the post office actually said, we'll give you a partial refund because it can get fixed. It was something that broke.
Oh, yeah.
And they were like, we'll get it fixed. We'll give you, $30 or something.
No, it was more than that. And it was actually something that we ended up giving to someone as a present. So we were like, here, you can use this. Yep. But it did help, but it was a bummer, yeah.
Okay, things we learned in the forum. I basically kind of talked about everything we were talking about, the whole eBay
debacle.
Shenanigans. Took up a lot of the time in the forum.
Yeah.
And now I normally say, let's go to the comments.
Nobody called in.
Or questions.
I think most people were on the forum freaking out about this like weirdness. Yeah.
So we have nothing to share with the people.
I mean, I checked our voicemail. I'm pretty sure nobody called. So if I missed it, sorry. But
people are all happy. They're all like...
everyone's content with their stores.
People all know how to do their store. So it's great.
That's cool.
We've done our job. Okay, so let's wrap this up. You can check our blog at scavengerlife.com. So it's when I say the forum, it's scavengerlife.com/forum. You can call or leave a comment on our voicemail line.
The phone number is 540-407-8486.
Yep.
Or you can email us a audio file from your phone.
Yes, and don't be driving, please when you're talking on the phone. I don't know what it is about, like...
It's just so loud.
Yeah, just be at home, drink a cup of coffee.
So our email is thescavengerlife@gmail.com.
If you're new to all this, we do post a episode every Monday.
And a What Sold every Wednesday.
There's no vacations. We always do it.
Pretty much always.
And then Wednesdays, we post a What Sells video from Stephen Schultz, our buddy, who shows the things he sells.
Yes, it's super informative, very educational.
Yep, and he's a beautiful, warm voice.
And he's got cute dogs and a cat.
That's right. Someone else has another podcast that's without me.
Yeah, you're not allowed on this podcast. Shampooandbooze.com. We talk about Airbnb and short-term rentals.
Yep.
We post one every week when we can get to it, mostly Tuesdays or Wednesdays.
Yep.
I'm enjoying it. It's nice to talk to other people about other things sometimes.
Yep.
So go listen to that, shampooandbooze.com.
And again, if you want to join the forum and kind of take part during the week, because we're like in a really big anti-spam place, you have to join. Then email us and say, please allow me in, and then we'll manually approve you.
Which is super helpful.
Yeah. It's it's not a huge place. It's just like a good...
We just like to keep all the spam bots out.
Intimate group of people. So come and join us. Okay. Sell trash and be free.
Bye.
We're ending in 3, 2, 1.